What's going on, everybody? Shwazy here, and in today's video we're going to be doing a quick exterior and interior walk around of the all-new 2024 Mercedes-Benz AMG EQE SUV. Hey everyone, before we dive into today's video, I want to tell you about Octane Coffee Company. It is the car-themed coffee company with a variety of different roasts paired with iconic names. You've got Big Block, Race Gas, The Goat. It's perfect for early morning cars and coffee or cruises down the canyon. It is the coffee for all car enthusiasts. Pick up your bag at OctaneCoffeeCompany.com, link is down below, and get 10% off your first order using promo code Octane10. Now back to the video. All right, so Mercedes just dropped off this AMG EQE SUV just a couple hours ago, and I will be doing a comprehensive, in-depth car review of this vehicle on the channel. But the purpose of today's video is to just give you an introduction, show off the exterior, interior, and try to find out what you really want to know about this vehicle. Now, first off, starting off with the exterior, this has a very similar design to the EQE SUV that I reviewed just a few months ago. It was the EQE 500, but there are some small differences here. So starting off with the front end, same headlights, you still have that cool light bar across the front, but the grille is a little bit different. The other one had a bunch of Mercedes logos. This one has the AMG inspired grille, and then the front splitter is also different on this AMG version, so it looks a little bit more aggressive. I mean, especially from this angle with that white and black, it looks very mean, very menacing, and that makes sense because the power here is immense. Now coming across the side, you got the AMG 21-inch wheels over here, which look really good. I like that they call it the Y-spoke design, but it matches the exterior. And then this one actually has carbon ceramic brakes, which is an additional option, but it definitely adds for that stopping power. This particular vehicle also has like the midnight package, so a lot of the chrome accents are blacked out. So the mirror caps, the window surround, you got EQE badge over here is also blacked out. So I think it matches the white and black exterior. I think if you had a darker color, it might look a little bit too dark, but I think it matches this vehicle. And the length of this vehicle is actually not as small as it looks, because it looks kind of rounded, it looks kind of small, but the vehicle is about the same size as your standard mid-size SUV. It's not a compact crossover by any means. Then coming over to the back, you have that same LED light bar, extends from passenger to driver's side, looks really good at night. It's got this cool helix design to it when it lights up, and then, like I said, you have the darkened AMG and Mercedes and EQE badges. The rear splitter also looks a little bit different than your standard EQE, and overall it's a pretty good looking design. Now, I will say I don't love the design of Mercedes electric vehicles. I think they look a little bit too smooth, too rounded. Now, they do that for aerodynamics, and I get that, and they're supposed to maximize range by doing this, but I think it just looks a little too soft. However, I do think this white and black with some of those AMG accents, including the wheels and that front splitter, make it look a little bit more aggressive, a little bit better than just your standard EQE SUV. Now, for those of you that don't know, this is obviously an electric powertrain, and so I want to briefly talk about some of the specs here. So in terms of range, it is a little bit compromised compared to the EQE 500 I reviewed, and that's just because you have a much more powerful motor here. You're looking at about a 235-mile range. Now, in terms of horsepower figures, it's 617 horsepower and 701 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you option for a specific AMG Dynamics Plus package, that will include a feature to unlock upwards of 677 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you do that, 0 to 60 in this vehicle is just around 3.4 seconds. Now, let's climb inside and take a look at the interior. First off, you've got your Mercedes key over here. It's got AMG on the back, and then your lock, unlock, and your trunk release. So you unlock the vehicle, and these do have the door handles that slide into and out of the body, and they've got LED illumination around it. Now, opening up this door, beautiful interior, one of my favorite interiors of all cars. I remember the EQE 500 I reviewed. I was in love with it, and this one looks exactly the same. It's actually the exact same color as well. It's I think Biscaya blue with the Neva gray interior, and so you've got this cool white or grayish leather with the aluminum accents, the black plastic, the blue. You've also got this copper accent that extends all the way from the driver to the passenger side, along with the ambient lighting. Taking a look at these seats, these are the AMG seats, and so they're a little bit sportier than just your regular EQE SUV. You have lumbar support, no massage seat function though. And then climbing inside, you've got your typical Mercedes steering wheel. Now this one does have the AMG paddle shifters here too, so it looks a little bit sportier. Now a couple more features to point out about the steering wheel are the buttons located down at the bottom. This is how you go through your different drive modes, from your comfort to sport to individual. On the left hand side, I've shown this off in other Mercedes products as well, is how you can cycle through various different types of modes. So for example, if you want to turn off your traction control, you cycle to that menu, and then there's a little toggle on the left-hand side that you can push to activate it. If you want to turn on your AMG Dynamics mode, you can cycle to the AMG Dynamics section, and then there's a button next to it that you can activate. So lots of functionality baked into the steering wheel. And then as you can see here, this is actually called the MBUX Hyperscreen. You guys may have seen this in some other Mercedes models, but let me turn this vehicle on. And to do that, you actually push to start over here. And this is a massive display. So there's actually 3 different screens here. You got a 12.3-inch instrument gauge cluster display, which I've shown off in other vehicles as well. And you kind of manipulate that using the buttons over here on the steering wheel. And you can swipe through various different themes like your track mode, your super sport, your classic. You can do like a subdued or a calm mode. And so there's lots of variation there. And then if you swipe up, you can actually regulate the heads-up display. And this one does come with that as an option. My particular tester does. And lots of colors there as well in the head-up display, especially in this super sport mode. But then moving towards the center, you've got this large 17.7-inch touchscreen display, and it really is massive. I've only seen it one other time in the EQS SUV, and it definitely doesn't disappoint. And then you've actually got another 12.3-inch touchscreen over there, and it's kind of tinted when you're looking at it from this angle. It actually looks a lot more vibrant when you're sitting behind the passenger seat. And also, this screen will start functioning when there's somebody sitting here. So you can manipulate the navigation, you have your own comfort settings, and so each person has their own screen in the front row. Now, I do love the air vents over here on the interior. I always love the way Mercedes does that. It just looks like an airplane engine. And then you've got ambient lighting all across over onto the passenger side, and then it wraps into the door panel. I mean, Mercedes does a fantastic job with ambient lighting, and this is probably one of the best applications of it. Now, the rest of the interior is very similar to the EQE 500 I reviewed, with a big difference being, for one, this hyperscreen, and then a small difference being the fact that I have this little mouse pad controller, and they've gotten rid of that when you have this hyperscreen. I also have a carbon fiber trim instead of your natural wood grain dash, and then you have a removable cup holder slot over here, 2 USB ports, wireless charging pad, and a pretty big compartment, and then your haptic feedback controls for some of your quick access buttons, including your 360 camera with a variety of different angles. And then you can open up various different settings here, and you do have a fingerprint reader, which I'll discuss in my full-length review. Back here, you got soft touch materials. Just love the way this looks. I mean, take a look. You got that large panoramic sunroof, which you can swipe to close the cover in the back. And then one thing I will note is you don't have any type of rear view camera mirror, which is a little bit odd. But let's jump into the second row, show you what that looks like. One more look at the interior. Looks gorgeous. And then jumping into the second row, good amount of legroom back here, just like any other mid-size crossover. Nice soft touch materials here, that same leather color, your Burmester 3D audio system. And then climbing back here, this is me sitting behind myself. Plenty of legroom over here. There's no center hump either because this is, you know, an electric skateboard platform, so there's no transmission tunnel. This one has the optional 4-zone climate control. So you've got 2 different types of air temperature controls back here. And then you can get rear heated seats, but this one doesn't come with it. Your air vents look pretty good. Overall, you know, plenty of space back here to chill out. You've got 2 USB ports. And then with the sunroof open, of course, you have a great view outside. And then let's take a look at the trunk space. But jumping back here, you open it up by pushing that button. And then it does have the hands-free system where you can swipe your leg and open it, but I prefer to use the button. Not too much to report back here. There's no household power outlet. You do have a cigarette-style power outlet over there, and then you've got some hooks for your groceries. And then there is a small compartment located underneath for your charging cable, but not much else to report back here. You don't have any type of buttons to lower that second row. You actually have to do that from the second row itself, which is a little disappointing in a vehicle at this price point. And then you can obviously have that hands-free closing of the lift gate. And then there's a look at what the lights look like at night. And then coming over to the front, let me show you what the lights look like when it's a little bit darker now. Look really good. You've got the LED dynamic lights, and then you've got this light bar across the front. Well, there you have it, folks. That was the quick look at the Mercedes AMG EQE SUV. Now stay tuned for the full comprehensive review of this vehicle, where I will go over all of the features, the specifications, how it feels behind the wheel of this over 600 horsepower monster. But for today's video, that finishes off. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video, and subscribe to the channel for all of the weekly car videos, everything from electric Mercedes to Dodge Challenger Hellcats and everything in between. Also, check me out on all the social media at Schwazy_. And until next time, everybody, I hope you stay Schwazy, stay healthy, have a wonderful day.